energy. We have Adam McKenzie, who's been sort of an expatriate in Malaysia, but here for a long time, more than 10 years. We have my colleague, Mr. S.K. Wong, from the Climate Governance Malaysia Council, and helping us out this morning. Also Muhammad Rezwan, who's with Sawa Energy Corporation, and then helping us out in the background is Encik Hakim. So with that, looking at wind, it's something that is not yet in Malaysia, neither in a pilot situation or in a commercial situation. Right now, it's safe to say that our wind capacity is zero. And wind is something, however, that is already very active, just a little bit further north and a bit further south from where we are. Okay, there are already wind farms in other parts of Southeast Asia, notably in Thailand, in Vietnam, a few other places. As long as it's a bit further away from where we are in the doldrums, right next to the equator. And many times Malaysians are asked, why don't you have wind power in Malaysia? To my knowledge, we have done some studies, but and those studies thus far have indicated, based on the technology that was available then, that wind power is not viable in Malaysia. But now, at this roundtable session, we hopefully will get updated on A, the state of data, and B, the state of the technology, and then finally C, the changes needed to the ecosystem to successfully bring wind into the renewable energy mix, if it is indeed feasible. So with that, let me turn it over to SK Wong to run this roundtable. Wong, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Gary. Good morning, everyone. Really appreciate your time to join this roundtable discussion. Maybe I'd like to actually start with looking at the data first, right? To actually understand where are the wind sort of resource availability in Malaysia. So what are the data currently available, right? And also in Malaysia, wind farm potential, and what are some of the key challenges to conduct accurate wind assessment in Malaysia? So I'd like to start with these two key questions first. May I actually give the floor to Adam, right? Being a consultant, really like to hear your thoughts and your view. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Gary, SK, and Climate Governance for having us here today. Hi to Rezwan as well. Good to meet you. It's a curious case for sure. Malaysia, perhaps, when you land at the airport, a low wind area, you find that, it can be quite muggy, quite hot. Your first experience isn't a stiff breeze. So, from the offset, when you show up here, you may think there's no chance. So, there's challenges that we have to get around in order to kind of work out what's going on. If I go back to where it all started with me and Anand, we found an expert from Europe who was trying to open market for this technology many years ago. And he basically worked with us to show us how this business worked and to uncover, if we could find any partners. From our kind of satellite mapping at that time, we'd identified certain sites. Over the years, as that technology's improved, more sites have started to appear. So we're able to improve our understanding of the resource from a satellite mapping perspective. In an on-the-ground perspective, we're utilizing the data that's available to us. And that comes from, low-lying ground weather stations, that could be as high as your knee, or they could be, like I said, at airports. So this becomes a challenge when you have really intelligent Malaysians that have studied at university. Some have gone overseas and studied and specialized in this. And, they've come back and they've collaborated with other universities here, and they've run their tests. They've used the data set that's available to them with the technology that's available to them. And it won't garner the results that are necessary, because it's going to be difficult for, your university course to go and acquire you satellite mapping. That's some undertaking. So this is kind of why we're at this point today, that we need to collaborate, federal government, with state governments to uncover and study the resources we have and really look into what we can do with that technology aside. I mean, the worst case scenario, if we say, oh, there's no wind and it's not viable, the fact that we've explored the weather resources brings a lot of quality information to Malaysia. We can boost other industries, and we can protect ourselves, with defenses and all kinds of things, disaster recovery. There's so many things that we can offer from starting this kind of research and going down the road together, but working together. So this is kind of where we're at now. So
have you identified, between the onshore and offshore in both Peninsula Malaysia, Sabah, Sarawak, can you give a little bit more insight on that, Adam, from what you have done, the research and so on?
Yeah. I mean, we found sites on Peninsula Malaysia. We found sites in Borneo as well. And, we've got sites, going from, let's say, around 20 megawatt up to 150 megawatt.
Okay.
So we're talking about significant resources that we can add to the energy mix here.
Yeah. And now actually I'd like to bring Rizwan in the discussion. I mean, you are from the Sabah, right? The land below the wind, right? So we certainly look forward to hear a bit from your thoughts there. Yeah. The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Esko. So you mentioned this now, Sabah, land below the wind.
Yeah.
We have the wind, but we don't capitalize the wind. So okay, like Mr. Adam, you mentioned that we have some students doing research overseas on this wind, and there are some satellite informations on the wind data, wind speed, also on the ground station like airports. We said, okay, actually Sabah Energy Corporation, we are spearheading the development of wind power in Sabah. Okay, we have started our study last year in October. We started the study for the wind data acquisition. So we are doing a 1-year wind collection. So meaning wind speed or the energy yield. So we have erected 2 wind masts. So this wind mast, we collect all the data, and it applies also for AI or the methodology, algorithm, and including each of the heads of the wind mast to collect data. So we are now in the final stage of compiling this study, and I would say the numbers is very promising. Very promising.
Very pleased to hear that.
So the minimum average that we got is around 5+ meter per second. The average, but actually we get more than that. That's more than that. So
there is one. May I ask the locations where these wind masts are? It might be proprietary, you might not, but it's just in general.
Actually, it's publicly available. It's in the news. So we have these two wind masts is erected in the northern part of Sabah in Kudat.
Okay.
So actually, we partner with a technology partner from China for this study. And they have also identified that this location have a potential, so this is where we erected the mast. The thing is, because the tip of Sabah, Borneo there, is also the wind path that cross from the South China Sea to the China, which is why Vietnam and Philippines, yes, notably they have a wind farm there. So surprisingly, Sabah has the potential. So yes, we are in the final stage of the study. And once we compile everything, and we hope it will come through, and hope to be the first in Malaysia.
Very promising. Very glad to hear that.
Very promising. So the project will be 100 megawatt wind farm. For the first phase. And we will be expanding for the second phase in later. So we expect for the first phase to be completed in 2028. Upon award by the Energy Commission of Sabah, ECOS. So ECOS is, I would say, is the regulatory Sabah. It's similar to Suruhanjaya Tenaga. So I think basically the numbers is there, and we are confident. So yes, once we have compiled everything, we hope to start the development.
And Rizwan, you mentioned about this 100 megawatt. This onshore or also include offshore?
This is onshore.
Just onshore alone, yeah.
Yeah, just
Oh,
offshore.
it is- yeah, good to hear. Good to hear.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now I'd like to bring Anand into the discussion. I know you're very passionate about wind power, wind potential. So do you want to add some of your comments here, Anand?
Yeah, like when we were looking the peninsula, we need the power in peninsula as well, and
Yep.
close to KL. So we were TMD requested a few good sites close to KL. So we found sites in Perak, Kelantan. Yeah, but Sabah is a whole different animal as well. But yeah, a lot of the power we need is for the peninsula.
Okay. Yeah, because there's a big demand center here. It's certainly great to hear that. There's some in Perak, my home state, which is good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now I'd like to actually turn the discussion to look at like what are the policy and the regulatory environment at the moment, right? So like what are the things in place currently in terms of legal framework to support wind power development? I'd like to hear a bit of thoughts from all three of you. And also, like Gary, please feel free to jump in also. And one lesson we can learn from our neighboring countries, because I'm mindful like Vietnam, Philippines, they are quite strong. I mean, they are really growing a wind sort of like potential business to sort of like be one of the areas on renewables. Also, even our neighbor, the northern neighbor, Thailand, also they've started the journey. So I just wanted to know and look at the Malaysia currently, what are the things that is in place and what are the things we want to see to happen? Yeah. So maybe now I'd like to, maybe Rizwan, since you first this round. Yeah.
If you're talking about the policy and the framework, I would
Mhm.
say there is none at the moment.
Oh,
Even Energy Commission of Sabah, they are quite, because it's something new in Malaysia.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's no any subject matter expert in wind in Malaysia. There's no, I would say the consultant, I mean local consult, we do have local consultant, but the experience for the local consultant to do any studies, doing framework in Malaysia is still not there. So even when we talk to Energy Commission of Sabah, ECOS, they are still trying to deliberately all the frameworks, even the PPAs, the power purchase agreement. So I would say there's no exact policy in place lah at the moment. If it's Sabah, I'm not sure about in Peninsula, because Peninsula is under Suruhanjaya Tenaga and
Correct.
yes.
Yep,
So it may be
correct.
a different situation there. So since we are the ones spearheading here in Sabah, so we will need to try. We ourselves need to educate the regulatory. So this is why we partner with our technology partner. Because they are from China and they have they have the experts, they are subject matter expert. So we discuss in how to, I mean, to have something in place as a strong policy framework, all the agreements to be in place lah. I think the very critical point is how to educate the local framework lah.
Yeah. Good to hear that. I also want to bring Anand from the Peninsula Malaysia perspective, especially. Anand, do you want to share first?
So again, same in the peninsula as well, like with SEDA and Energy Commission. SEDA is anything below 30 megawatts and below, and in fact wind is not even mentioned in our RE Act as well. We had a bit of discussion, and now it's with Energy Commission, who have been very supportive, and they're open to look at it as well, and they're also willing to consider battery and hybrid. So they just want to work with us and see how we can develop this. And they've been quite supportive so far, but we still do need some concrete policy and push for this climate studies.
Okay, maybe I could jump in right now, because we've got a couple of questions that have been put up by the listeners. And by the way, we are up at 69 participants, close to 70 participants now. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. Got a couple of questions here, both from anonymous participants, but the questions that they have pertain to the use of rare earth elements. And my guess is that it's what's needed for the magnets in these wind turbines. And the two questions are actually concerned about the development of mining and the environmental and ecological damage that mining could cause for these rare earth elements in wind turbines, if they were to be implemented in a large scale in Malaysia. Now, of course, Malaysia as yet is not even a manufacturing hub for any of these, but I think some of the precursor technologies are already in place. For example, I think Malaysia is a manufacturer of the fans that go into jet engines, and those are carbon fiber composite fans, and those are precisely the materials that are being used for very lightweight wind turbine blades nowadays. So, I mean, at the onset, of course, we will have minimal local content in this industry, but as the industry progresses, it would make more and more sense to manufacture more and more of the components here. And particularly the large wind turbine blades, and then have them installed. So the question is maybe the question should be rephrased is do we anticipate a time when the market for these rare earth elements will be so dire that we'll actually need to sacrifice our forests, central forest spine, other environmentally sensitive areas to get at these rare earth elements, or is this something that as we begin to recycle EV batteries, as we begin to recycle wind turbines, even, can these resources actually be obtained from cyclical sources rather than actually always having to clear forests for mining? Would any of our roundtable participants have anything to say on this? Because it's something that is a key concern for countries like Malaysia that have large areas of forest, and we rely on these forests for active sequestration of greenhouse gases. Floor's open.
Any views, any thoughts, Adam?
I think it's an interesting topic in terms of when you decommission a turbine, what is usable, what is reusable, and what is recyclable. So in terms of the rare earth elements involved in producing a turbine, it's far less in terms of environmental damage than actually any other production of energy. So, in terms of a comparison with others, it's not as damaging. The damage to environment is very limited. There are plenty of companies out there that are coming up with methods to reuse elements from wind turbines. You can repurpose part of blades. Blades can be reused as well. There's a number of things that can be done. When it comes to the rare earth elements, it's not a large portion of the item itself, of the turbine itself, as opposed to with a battery. Once that battery starts to expire, you've got another issue in your hand, is the bulk of the product it will need to be replaced or will need to be re-engineered. So wind on the whole will be far less damaging. And if you speak about the Malaysia scenario, our scenario is that we have pockets of wind. We don't have wind all over the country. We can't put wind turbines all over Malaysia. It's not possible. Regardless of how far we get down the road with the quality of wind mapping, I think Rizwan will back us up on that. He's done the wind resource of his area, and he'll know that it's a specific part of the country that will basically can adopt wind energy. Aside from that, you'll be looking at offshore. And offshore is a different animal altogether, where you could build a wind farm the size of Singapore if you wanted to. But is that necessary at this time? The price of production for wind offshore is prohibitive to the amount that we pay for energy here in Peninsular Malaysia. So in terms of huge swathing amounts of environmental damage on the front of Malaysia, it's not that significant at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
If does anyone have anything else to add? Because I think there's some follow-up questions here as well, which
Yeah,
are quite
just one thing
interesting.
from the research I've seen, Dr. Gary, is that wind has the lowest carbon footprint compared to the other renewables as well, compared to solar. Like you can use the land for agriculture and stuff. So there's actually a Norwegian study that showed clearly that it has the lowest carbon footprint. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, so these questions deal with the fact that okay, first of all, they make the point that rare earth elements are not renewable. Of course, when we're talking about mined resources and minerals in the earth, once you take them out of the ground, they're out of the ground. They don't renew themselves in the ground. They may not be easy to recycle, but in any case, being in one place. I mean, if you recycle the entire wind turbine, you've got basically all your rare earth elements in one place that you can actually, they're not dispersed in bulk all over the place. And I think that we also have a question regarding the comparison between solar and wind. And I think here the idea really is that I think we don't want to be put in a situation where we're actually trying to compete between the two, because the two are quite different. I mean, your solar is going on during the day. The wind can even pick up at night many times. Yeah, pick up. And the idea really is that in some cases they can even coexist because you can have, because they take up different parts of the system, and then there are benefits to wind, where as been mentioned by Encik Rizwan and Anand, you can actually conduct agriculture underneath. You can't do forestry, obviously, because the trees will interfere with the and slow the wind down. But you can do agriculture under wind in ways that you may not be able to do it as well under solar. So I think the idea is that we're looking at these two renewable energy sources not as competing, one or the other, but we're looking at them as complementing each other. There is a question here about specifically Kudat. Enabling, how is the government planning to assist us? Okay, the question seems to focus on areas where it may be necessary to clear primary forests, to build access roads, and they want to know how Jabatan Alam Sekitar, or the Department of Environment of Sabah, is going to approach this, because there's concern that there will not be the kind of public engagement that goes into these decision making before it happens. So, I mean, it's a valid concern, because when you're trying to transport very, very large wind turbine blades, the roads have to be quite straight. Not only straight left and right, but also straight up and down. And so some of these issues are relevant issues. To turn a corner, you might have trees, literally large trees in the way when you're trying to transport these large wind turbine blades. You simply lop them off. I mean, so this is a valid concern. Maybe Rizwan, you could field this question now. Thanks.
Okay. So yes, Dr. Gary, the roads, on transporting, that's a big challenge. Installing or commissioning a wind turbine is not that I would say it's not that hard, it's not difficult. But the main concern on wind turbine is the logistics. How first is to transport from, like for us, our partner is China, to transport from China to Sabah, and bringing from the port to the location of the site. So yes, we have to create a new roads for the bringing the turbines and all. For the trailer itself can reach up to 100 meters long to bring even for one blade. And all of these have to be, take into consideration. For sure, there are some environmental damage. There is, because we have to clear the lands, especially the sites in Kudat is mostly kampung or some forest area. But somehow we have started to engage with EPD, which is the Environment Protection Department in Sabah. So we are also seeking the advice, we are seeking the approval. So for all the road path, all the site installation, the site proposed site, we also provide them. We need their advice, what to do and what not to do. So we only can start to deploy only when there's some certain approval, from the jabatan or from other regulatory or other authorities. So it's just not simply to bring, you cut and you just install. So all of these have to take in consideration. So when we plan, once we have compiled all the study, when we start to deploy, when we have been award the project, so we have to comply with all these regulatory compliance and all those environmental and to ensure not just for the sake of having electricity, but also to take care of our nature. So all of this have to be in place. Even we also did our soil investigation. We are currently in the progress. And other part of that, we do our topography survey to identify, in Kudat, our site is usually on the tip of the mountains. So the topography survey is very, very critical, to identify which site, and also if the sites belongs to a forest class 1, which we want to avoid, and also we have to see, we need to acquire from which department, is it under estate or maybe a rubber tree estate or whatsoever. So all of this have to take into account. So basically, environmental damage is there, but we try to make it very minimal, and to comply what have been put in the documents lah.
Yeah, thanks, Rizwan. I also wanted to bring the discussion from Anand and also Adam, right? Especially from the Malaysian, Peninsula Malaysia perspective, because like wind turbine, sometimes like the concerns are not in my backyard, right? It's good to have renewables energy, but not at my backyard. So I want to bring two subjects to discuss together. I think one is actually on the stakeholder engagement, and then the other is actually related to like sort of social economic benefit to the local community for this development. I'd like to hear a little bit of thoughts on that area. Anand, you want to start first?
Yeah. So again, it's on the community building. But just coming back to Dr. Gary's question, is that thank God Peninsula, we're blessed with some better highways, and so we've actually mapped our from Butterworth, the ports to the Perak and our sites. So we're quite lucky that way. So again, that's an advantage for us. So our costs will be definitely more viable. So yeah. Sorry. Now, Senki, your question was the community building. We do need like stakeholders engagement. The problem is we definitely need the state buy-in, state government buy-in, and federal government buy-in as well. And we need to work together with them to harness the wind and build a community sort of thing, because we are creating jobs, building a new industry.
So far from the sort of some of the potential that you look at, Anand, is there like have there been some work already started to actually pursue related to like engaging, like also educating the local community, and also like what are the social economic benefit you actually bring to the local community?
Yeah, so we've actually been in discussions with some state government companies in Perak who are very supportive and who are offering the land and to be a partner as well for the project, because they're looking at it. It increases their industry and their investments as well for clean energy. In fact, we had a really good discussion with the digital ministry just earlier this year, and they're quite keen for us to look at renewable data centers, and that's another under the CREST program or one of the programs available. So that's our plan B, to use the power for renewable data centers, and again creating a renewable energy park in Perak, and with not only wind but maybe solar hybrid battery. There's amazing technology you can do even with green hydrogen. So it's just the levels, but yeah, just the energy mix is very important to us.
Okay,
I'm very glad you.
Sorry,
in terms of a benefit, a wind turbine per megawatt reduces about 2,000 to 2,500 tons of carbon
per
year.
megawatt. Yeah.
So that's one benefit. Another benefit will be, in terms of infrastructure, we're providing jobs.
Yes.
Yep.
Once we're online, we're able to connect communities to power that perhaps they didn't have, and smooth power. And in and around that creates opportunities for local business, and depending on our locations and the quality, we can have tourism involving things like, viewing decks, so at least you can come and visit, you can see what's going on, you can check out the project. So there's a variety of ways that, once a project's up and running and there's an income stream generated, we can give back to the communities, we can go and engage, and we can help people with solutions that they need that perhaps they haven't been reached before because there's no business interest in the area. So there's a number of things that we can look at when we do these kind of projects. It's not just come in, take, everything goes to big business. We're a part of the Malaysian infrastructure. We're a part of the community. So that's what we're about. We're here to make the nation stronger, better, and to work closer together.
Yeah. And Adam, is there some experience to share from Vietnam or Philippines? Is there some example, like success story that you want to relate, that at least we can actually share that here?
I think that's more, be it on a case-to-case basis, but I think you see with all kinds of environmental work, I mean, whether you're in mining or what you're in, you need to engage with your local community and you need to bring them solutions. I couldn't significantly point to one operation in another country in terms of how they've engaged their communities, but I can tell you from my own personal experience and our own intentions, what we intend to do.
Sorry for jumping in here. We've got a couple of more questions that I think are relevant. There's one that we should probably dispel right away, and that is what we've got someone proposing or putting forward the idea that solar is an easier option, given that in monsoon periods, the wind turbines might actually be damaged. I think maybe we could seal this one right away by saying, monsoon level wind speeds are actually not damaging to wind turbines. Could we clear the air on that? I mean, to what degree are wind turbines vulnerable? Because we've seen during typhoons, of course, that there is damage. But could Adam or Anand clear the air on the range of wind speeds that we get during the monsoons, and if those are in any way threatening to wind turbines?
Yeah, I think like what you said, Dr. Gary, there's a big definition between monsoon and typhoons. And in fact, I'm just aware there's a new wind farm just being built. It's called monsoon wind farms. I think the typhoons are the ones that we have to worry about. But even then, there's mitigations, there's batteries, there's all sorts of other protections that you can put in place.
Okay.
Yeah, there's improvements in engineering as well of these turbines. So there's safety features inbuilt, and also they're not just stuck in one area. So turbines adjust according to the wind speed and the wind direction as well. So there's a number of features where they're designed. They have inbuilt collapsing systems and the like. And obviously, we can't manufacture or we can't produce a project without a full risk assessment. I mean, that's part of the environmental study. So when it comes down to dealing with crisis or disaster, there's inbuilt mechanisms that we have. If not, we won't be doing good by the environment.
Right. I'm a bit mindful of the time. We're at 11:06 right now, and perhaps there's time for maybe a couple more questions. Thank you very, very much for questions. We've got 74 people on the roundtable right now. The question here is really about timing. We understand at the very beginning, of course, we'll have to import a lot of this equipment. And then gradually build up the capacity for the technology in this area. What do you see as a sort of useful timeline or the probable timeline to get from where we need to begin developing I guess the regulatory frameworks, the rules based, the infrastructure, and then to importing and having these things assembled and maintained for us, and then getting to a stage where we are actually assembling and building these wind turbines ourselves, and making use of the considerable technology capacity that we already have here, particularly for things like carbon fiber products and the like. Maybe we'll open this to anyone in the roundtable.
Okay, Doctor, so more on the timeline. So this is based on our, our preliminary study, right?
Yep.
So usually, for the manufacturers like Envision, Goldwing, or Siemens, Gamesa, Vestas.
Yep.
From your design phase to delivery may take around almost 1 year. So it depends on the technology of how many megawatt per turbine, maybe 5 megawatt up to 6, 7, or 8 megawatt. So usually it's around from engineering to delivery, it will be taking around 1 year. But the construction phase is a bit longer. It might take at least 2 years. For the construction, 2 years, take into account on the logistical side, the installation, and also the access to the site. But this is for the onshore situation. But it will be a totally different case for offshore, because offshore is very straightforward on the installation, but it's more on capex intensive lah. But for our project on the onshore, so that's basically the timeline that we will be take for deploying the wind turbine lah. So it's one year for manufacturing delivery, and at least 2 years for the construction, implementation, commission lah.
Anand, might this be different for Peninsular Malaysia?
Yeah, I think the Peninsula, the next 6 months is very critical for us, because our off-taker and Energy Commission, SEDA and stuff, we do need the policy and permitting in place. So I think the next 6 months is quite critical for us to decide whether we're going to go ahead and attract the foreign investors, and how to accommodate them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I because I just touched on the designing and the construction, but before the designing, like you mentioned, yes, we need to engage all the stakeholders, the single buyers, the off-takers. For example, for utility scale like 100 megawatt, there is a lot of stakeholders that we need to engage, especially the single buyer. For here, SESB, Sabah Electricity Berhad, and especially this is something new here, and the discussion is ongoing. It's never ending. There's a lot of disagreements there. Some disagreements there, and some of education need to be done. That is only on the off-takers and the single buyer. The second part is on the I would say the capital, the financing part. So that is also I would say a very critical enabler to deploy this wind farm. So
how do you see, in fact, this area I want to actually ask a bit more, right, Rizwan? It's like on the financing part, right? Are you seeing the sort of multilateral, like IFC, World Bank, ASEAN Development Bank, are they active beside the commercial bank?
We have reached that stage, because we're still in the early stage. But we have to engage a project financial advisory on this, because nobody has done this. So we need an advisory to look for what are the best options there. Is it going for local banks, commercial banks, syndication loan, or maybe we go for other green loans from maybe Asian Development Bank or from other World Bank, or we might go for sukuk or bond. Because for utility scale wind farm, for example, at least 100 megawatt and above, your capex will be around 800 million and above. So not all financial will just simply invest in this project. So this is another part that the education need to be done. especially you have to how you market, how you promote the investors. So on this part is something new also here in Sabah. I mean, also in Malaysia. So yes, I think it's very important for us to educate the financial. I mean, be it commercial bank or maybe in Sukuk or investors.
Yeah. Any addition from Anand before pass back to like Gary to close?
Yeah, like we're quite happy with the off-taker in Peninsula, and the PPA is very attractive. But again, it's probably a blended finance, and I was actually inspired by an entrepreneur in Thailand who sort of identified the sites and did some smart partnerships with the turbine manufacturers. And today they've got more than 1,000 megawatts of wind energy in Thailand. So, and again, we get that pocket, that flow as well. So we do have wind, just to dispel, and we've got American studies, Norwegian studies, and Chinese studies as well. And our partners are quite confident. So we just need that policy in place that gives them even more confidence.
Can I just add that I think it's a key time for us to start getting closer together as a community in terms of how we advocate for the wind industry. So, the closer we work together in this, instead of, perhaps that classic saying of being in silos, the more opportunity that we can have a cohesive message that's easier for anybody new to what we're trying to achieve to understand. And that also goes with, how we need to blend financing to bring the project forward, how we need to collaborate to produce industry in terms of, you're talking about manufacturing earlier. We need to have hubs where we can engineer these products and we can do repairs, and we can, establish university courses, and we can teach people how to become industry professionals, and we can send Malaysians out across the world as industry experts.
Yeah, I think that these are all incredible points. I mean, Malaysian companies actually own and operate wind farms outside of Malaysia. Yeah,
outside
Malaysia
and
UK,
Australia,
own,
Taiwan.
And so it's always a question of how, if possible, they can be incorporated here. It's I think, as we've heard, not an issue of having one or the other. I think wind is part, or should be part, of a comprehensive strategy to address renewable energy using all the possible sources as they complement each other. So I'd like to extend, on behalf of Climate Governance Malaysia, our thanks to Rizwan for joining us, and to Adam and Mr. Anand for their views. Hopefully, we will get these views collected, compiled, and put out there. Thank you for all our participants. More than 70 participants. We thank you for your questions. We apologize if we have not been able to get to all of them, but we have a written compendium of your questions here. We can actually respond to you if you are willing to receive correspondence from us. So on that note, thank you very, very much for joining us for this roundtable. Be aware that there are 2 more roundtables after lunch this afternoon. Thank you very much for your time, and once again, a big thank you to all of our roundtable experts here this morning. So if you would do us the kind favor of filling in the evaluation that you now see on the screen, we would really appreciate it. It would help us to improve the quality of our deliverables moving forward. Thank you also, SK, for co-hosting this with me, and also Encik Hakim for helping us in the background. So it's been a very informative roundtable. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant day.
Thank you.
Thank you, and bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.